Hello, everybody. Welcome to the It Hurts to Mom podcast. I'm Lauren Rose, and today's topic is PEMF, or pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. I hope I got that right. Did I
Good.
get that right? Okay,
Yeah.
great. Our guest is Adrian Armstrong. He's been a health expert and coach for the past 35 years. And this is a new therapy that I am just recently learning about, and I thought it was so fascinating. I couldn't wait to have him come on so he could tell us all about it. So, Adrian, why don't you share your story with us? Tell us about your chronic pain, what treatment modalities you use, and how you got into the PEMF technology.
Okay, great. Yeah. I have been focused on health. I guess my first thing that happened to me was that I had a bad back, really chronic for about 10 years. And I tried all kinds of, pretty much every kind of therapy that was out there, massage and chiropractic and acupuncture and different kinds of alignment techniques. And I started doing Tai Chi to help my back. And then I
Mhm.
started teaching Tai Chi as well. And then massage kind of came out of helping my Tai Chi students relax. So for a long time, that was what I was doing to kind of fix myself. But I would still go out of alignment if I bent wrong or did so. I was always having to be super careful. And then if I threw myself out again, I'd be back in pain for a long time.
Mhm.
About 7 years ago, 7.5 years ago, I got in a car accident, and the person that normally fixed me was out of town for 3 weeks. But I had a friend that had one of these mats, and he said, "Come on over and lay on my magic mat."
Mhm.
That's what he called it, his magic mat. So I went over to his house, and I was crooked and in pain. And after laying on the mat for 20 minutes, it was like the car accident never even happened. So,
Wow.
after helping people for so many years with their aches and pains, I've never seen anything that could work that fast to fix that kind of a problem. So
Mhm.
I got one myself, and I started putting all my massage clients on the mat, and they all ended up loving it so much. And I got to see not only what it did for myself, but what it would do for other people. And most of them ended up buying their own mat. So it kind of just grew into a huge passion for me, because I'd never seen anything in 40 years of helping people with their aches and pains that could do those kind of results without constant therapies, and also something you can do in the privacy of your own home, not having to drive to an appointment. And
Mhm.
when my back was bad, it was the original accident was on workers' compensation. So I was forced to go to appointments, and usually I felt worse by the time I got home
Mhm.
than if I'd never gone in the first place. So to have something that I could do at home that would actually fix the root cause of the problems, and keep me continually getting stronger and healthier was a godsend. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible to hear. So how do you use a PEMF mat? What does it do for a person, and how does it work?
Well, it's a mat the size of a yoga mat, so it's 6 feet long by 2 feet wide, and you would just turn it on and lay on it. So
Mm.
inside the mat, there's 6 copper coils that create a magnetic field to replicate the Earth's magnetic field. So before we electrified the planet, there
Mhm.
were only Earth-based frequencies. But especially in the last 20 years, we're surrounded by wireless everywhere. We're all on iPads and uh, iPhones, and or whatever kind of phone you have, and
Mhm.
laptops, and they're all giving off frequencies that aren't healthy for us. But even just our regular electricity, a lot of people are becoming more and more sensitive just to anything electrical, because anything electrical also gives off a magnetic field. And the secret to magnetic fields is the frequency that it resonates at. So we are meant to be in harmony with the earth, basically walking barefoot on the planet, but we're not anymore. We're just surrounded by all these other frequencies that are everywhere now. And we live indoors a lot, so we're not connecting to nature enough. Most people, I think, know they feel good when they're in nature, but we don't get enough of it, right? So uh, the mat is kind of like a super dose of natural nature's frequencies that actually forces your cells into resonance. So it's kind of like if I hit a tuning fork, and hold up a second tuning fork, the second one begins to resonate with the first one, even though I didn't hit it, just because of the surrounding frequency field. So our bodies are kind of the same, you know, as we now know in quantum physics, everything is a connected field and it's all interacting with each other. So we're very affected by our environments. Even though we don't see all these unseen information fields that surround us everywhere, we are being affected by them, and they force us to resonate at a frequency where our cells can't really heal properly. So the natural earth-based frequencies are 0 to 30 hertz, and a hertz is 1 cycle per second. So 0 to 30 is very slow. But if you hear 2.4 gigahertz, like your cell phone might have, or your microwave, that's 2.4 billion cycles per second.
Oh my
Of
gosh.
information that's surrounding us that's vibrating so fast that it affects our bodies and prevents them from healing properly. There's actually a biological window of cellular healing that's proven that shows where tissues in our body heal the best. So nerves actually heal best at 2 hertz, and bone at 7, and ligaments at 10, and capillaries at 15. But it's all in that very slow 0 to 30 hertz range. So when you can get your cells to resonate at those frequencies, you heal faster. So things just start to heal in your body, because your body knows what to do with itself, right? It knows how to heal. You cut your finger, it heals. Most people don't heal as fast as they did when they were a little kid. So this speeds up the healing, but also our cells are batteries. So, and they need energy, and we're actually meant to get recharged by walking on the planet. The Earth's magnetic field is actually a static field, but when you walk, it makes it pulse. So we are meant to be out walking on the planet every day, as people used to when they had to look for food every day, right? They'd be out searching and walking around, and they'd be in nature more because there wasn't concrete everywhere, and we weren't walking in rubber-soled shoes, and we weren't driving in rubber tires with cars and metal boxes. So we're just not in touch with those natural frequencies anymore the way that we're meant to. So really what the mat's doing is it's giving you back that connection to nature by charging up your cellular batteries, actually creating real ATP or energy in your mitochondria, not just kind of giving you sugar or caffeine or something that stimulates your cells and then you crash afterwards. It actually gives you energy the way we're meant to get energy.
Well,
I'm always
imagine,
surprised how few people have even heard of PEMF, let alone tried one.
yeah, I'd never heard of it until you. And then when I was just, hearing you talk about it, it sounds amazing. So I imagine that you've seen a good amount of chronic pain patients find a good amount of relief. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, when I got mine, when I first got mine, in addition to the car accident, I had a shoulder injury that I'd had for about 6 months, and I know how to work on myself, but I couldn't get rid of it. And within 2 days of having my own mat, the shoulder injury went away and it never came back. And then, yeah, I have all kinds of people, people that have been on meds for 18 years for back pain, and within a couple of weeks they're off their meds and they're got mobility back, and they basically got their life back. Because I don't know, a lot of your listeners may have chronic pain, and it
Yes.
apart from the actual pain, it robs you of your energy, because our physical and our emotional bodies and our spiritual bodies are all tied together, and you can't separate them. If you feel bad physically, emotionally, you're going to feel bad. If you feel bad emotionally, physically, you're not going to feel great either, right? So whichever place you're not feeling good affects all the other areas of your life as well. And this kind of it actually makes your cells happy. And when your cells are happy, you're happier. So it's great for not only pain, but burnout and anxiety and depression and mental awareness and thinking, and pretty much any kind of illness or chronic conditions. A lot of what I call civilization diseases that we have now that are growing so much, and because a lot of them are environmental. autism and Alzheimer's and diabetes and heart disease and cancer and you name it, all these things that are getting more and more people affected by all the time aren't really necessary to have. If you can get your cells so each individual cell has the energy it needs to do the work it wants to do. The only important thing to do when you're using PEMF is to make sure you're well hydrated. So the body, because we're really made of water, and water actually stores memory as well. And that's why trauma sometimes can be so hard to release from the body, because all those bad experiences and traumas and physical injuries, they get trapped in the water molecules of our body. And then it's really hard for you to release them. And, people might go to therapy so that they can get things like that looked after. But if you can actually affect the vibration of the cells so that they're not as stressed out, so you're not in fight or flight mode your whole life, it actually puts you into your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode and healing mode. As most people in today's world, stress doesn't really go away. So most people are kind of in fight or flight most of their life. From the time they wake up in the morning, they start thinking about things and they're stressing out about stuff. And then throughout the day, stuff happens that stresses you out. And a lot of people have a hard time relaxing. And for a lot of people, that turns into a hard time going to sleep. They can't shut their brain off. And that's the other, apart from pain is probably one of the most important things that people get a mat for, but also sleep issues, because sleep is when your body heals and repairs. And we have a built-in organ clock for the mat that changes the frequencies you get depending on the time of day. So it knows in the morning that you're trying to wake up and you want some energy, so it gives you the more energetic frequencies in the 15 hertz range and up. But at nighttime, it knows you're trying to go to sleep, so it gives you 0.5 hertz so that it gets your brain actually into theta and delta mode so that you can have a deeper sleep. So sleep is another huge thing that people notice a big difference in, that affects their sleep patterns, and they get much more restorative sleep.
Yeah, I was wondering if it would have any effect on sleep, because a lot of us with chronic pain have trouble going to sleep, and we have a lot of trouble staying asleep, as I'm sure you experienced as well.
Oh yeah, well, the pain wakes you up.
Exactly.
So you're in a position and you're there for too long, or you can't move around. It hurts. Even when my back was bad, it hurt to roll over in bed. Or everything hurt. The only thing that didn't hurt for me when my back was bad is if I laid flat on the floor with my calves up on a chair. So because that kind of flattened my lower back. But standing hurt and sitting hurt and walking hurt and everything hurt. So
yeah,
this actually found, so one of the things I did in addition to massage, I did massage for 35 years. When my back was really bad, I found someone that did an alignment process. It wasn't chiropractic, but it worked so well for me that I went and learned how to do it. And it was all about balancing the two brain hemispheres and equalizing the body's energy because each side of the brain works the opposite side of your body. Typically, when people get really stressed, they get stuck in one hemisphere of the brain. They deal with the brain or with the world more from, say, their left brain hemisphere, which tends to tighten up the right side of the body. And as the muscles tighten, they shorten, and it pulls the hip up and it rotates the hip. And you end up with one leg that's shorter than the other, and everything's out of alignment. So I used to do a physical manipulation on people's head that would reconnect the energy to both brain hemispheres, and the body would structurally level itself out. The hips would come back into balance, the knees would be in balance, and the legs would be in balance. And a lot of people that have back pain, especially chronic back pain, it is because they're crooked, they're out of alignment structurally. And that ends up pinching the nerves. But I started noticing when I put my massage clients on the mat, I used to give them an alignment before the massage to straighten them out first all the time. And then when I got my mat, I just started putting them on the mat first. And I noticed that without touching them, structurally, their body came back into alignment. The hips would level out. So the tight side of the body would relax, which allowed the hip to come back into place, and then everything would be in alignment, and the muscles in the back would be more balanced, and the muscles in the neck would be more balanced. So that to me was even more incredible than even the frequency part, that without touching you, structurally you could come back into balance, just as if you'd gone to see your chiropractor and he'd put you back into balance, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
But my experience with chiropractors was that it helped, but typically after a few days I'd be back out of alignment again, so it wouldn't last. I'd have to keep going back every week or every couple of weeks to try and correct myself, right? And then when I got my mat, it was like I can lay on it every day, and I can make sure that my body is structurally in balance every day. And that's huge for most people. Most people have been out of alignment their entire life, just from stress and maybe accidents. Maybe they fell down or they got in a car accident. All those kind of things can knock your body out of balance as well. And then it's a challenge to get it back in and keep it there. And that's why, people go to chiropractors to kind of get restructured, and then hopefully they can make it hold as long as they can. And if not, they just have to go back and get it done again. So
Right.
this for me took away the need for those kind of other therapies, and just made it so that I was able to look after myself in a much easier way.
That's really cool. Um, so if we get one of these mats, will staying on it longer than is recommended cause us harm?
No, no. Because it's using very low frequencies and very low intensity levels, it doesn't create too much of a cleansing effect. Like some people, I've had a few very, very sensitive people that have to start on the more sensitive settings, and you can adjust the intensity of it. But for most people, just the normal average settings are fine. And what's recommended to start off with is to use it twice a day, minimum. Because when you lay on it, the effect will last about 6 to 10 hours of keeping you in that correct frequency. But then again, as you move into the world, you're going to get overwhelmed by all the other environmental frequencies that surround you. But if you do it twice a day, say morning and evening, you're going to keep yourself in those healing frequencies all the time. So your cells are always able to be healing, and they're always getting the charge that they need to keep you more healthy. Then when I got mine, I used it 2 and 3 times a day for the first while. But then I didn't want to just maintain. I really wanted to push the envelope and see if I could improve. So I did up my usage to more times a day. And we also, in addition to the full body mat, there are also local applicators. So there's a smaller back pad that you can just use on a chair. I actually have one in the chair I'm sitting on here. And then there's a spot pad, which is 2 round discs, which you can put on either side of your, say, your feet or your elbows or your wrists, because as we age, joints tend to be things that give people trouble. So I wanted to be more preventative and to see if I pushed the envelope, how much I could improve. And of all the things I've done for my health, I usually hit a plateau where you kind of go, oh, this is as good as it gets doing this, taking this pill, drinking this shake, doing this exercise. But after 7.5 years, I honestly haven't plateaued. I know 2 months from now, I'm actually going to feel better than I do now. I'm able to be stronger and do more exercise and do a lot of the things that I love to do that I couldn't do most of my life. Like I love golf, but I couldn't play golf for most of my life because it would hurt my back. And now if I want to, I can play golf every day as long as the weather's nice. So it's given me back pieces of my life that I thought I had lost forever. So that's huge.
Wow. So besides pain relief and increased energy, and sleep assistance, what are some of the other benefits of PEMF technology to our bodies and to our cells?
Well, once you lay on it, pretty much immediately as soon as you lay on it, your circulation improves. So it speeds up your circulation, which also increases oxygenation. So you're getting more oxygenation to all your cells as well. It increases nitrous oxide, which dilates your blood vessels and makes your blood flow a lot easier. There's been a lot of issues lately with people with blood clots and heart attacks and things like that. So this helps all of that as well. Again, it puts you into your parasympathetic nervous system, so it's calming, and a lot of people notice that calming effect, especially good for kids with autism and things like that, where stresses will really aggravate their condition. So it's very calming in those kind of conditions. It also increases the ATP, or the actual real energy, in every cell of your body. So it allows your cells to function better and be more resistant. So it's going to improve your immune function, make you more resistant to bacteria or viruses. It actually makes you more alkaline. Alkalinity is a measure of the electrical charge on your cells. So it's making you less acidic, which makes your internal environment much less susceptible to the bad bacteria, because they can't live in an alkaline environment. So it's creating a very healthy biological terrain, and it's gently detoxing all the time. So it increases not only the charge on your cell, but also the cell permeability. So when you're eating good food and your nutrients are getting into your cells better, the oxygen gets in better, and it also helps to gently detox. So very rare that people get any kind of detox reaction, though, because it is so gentle. And that would be the worst side effect that you would get from using it, is that if you were very toxic and you did it too much too fast, you might detox too fast, because your cells are going, hey, I've got all this energy now, let's clean up the house, and they start dumping stuff. So that's one of the reasons you want to make sure you're drinking a lot of water, so that it can flush out of your body easily. But it's very rare that someone would have a Herxheimer, a detox reaction to it, which is really just caused by too much toxicity in the body, and it can't get out fast enough, so it gets reabsorbed, and you might get a headache or an upset stomach. Because typically most people's digestive systems have issues, so those kind of things are really helped as well.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of great stuff for the body. So there's a couple different mat options, correct? I think there's 2 different kinds of mats.
Yeah, we have 2 different models. One of them is the more popular one, is the less expensive one, partly probably because it's less expensive, but it's also more portable. So it's powered by an Android tablet that comes with it. And once you charge your tablet, you can actually use it without being plugged into the wall for about 6 hours. So if I was going on a long drive, I'd throw the back pad on my car seat and take the tablet and just turn it on, and I can run it the whole time. I used to commute a lot long. I had 2 different places, and I used to commute like on a 5-hour drive, and I would just have it running for the whole time while I was driving. So I wouldn't get in pain from the drive, and I'd also wouldn't be sleepy. I'd be fully alert and energized, and I'd feel as good when I got out of the car 5 hours later as I did when I got in. So that's a huge benefit of that one. And I'm actually pretty sensitive to the negative energies that are out there. So I've now moved to a smaller town, but when I was living in a bigger city, when I went out to crazy energetic environments, I would actually throw the spot pad and the tablet in a backpack and turn it on and wear it. So I would have my own little bubble of energy moving through the world where the energy wasn't great. And also, if I was going on a hike or something, I would take it and turn the intensity up so it would give me a lot more energy, so I'd have more endurance. And then also, if I did do anything foolish like sprain my ankle, I'd have something there to help me out with whatever issues I had. So that's the Omnium. That's the one that doesn't need to be plugged in. And then we also have the IMRS Prime, which is more expensive, needs to be plugged in all the time, but it has the capability of having far infrared in the full body mat as well. So when you lay on a pulsed electromagnetic field mat, it's very subtle. You don't really know, it's not heating up, it's not vibrating, it's not making your muscles twitch like a TENS machine would, or some other electrical stimulation devices might make your muscles contract. It's not doing any of that. Some people will actually be able to feel it, but most people really don't notice much when they're actually laying on it, other than, oh, I feel more relaxed, or they might feel tingling because of the increase in circulation. But with the IMRS Prime, you can have far infrared in your full body mat, so it actually heats up as well. So in addition to the PEMF, you're getting the benefits of the far infrared, which helps again with more anti-inflammatory. But it's also really, you know, especially in the winter, it's nice to come in from the cold outside and lay on it, and it's nice and warm and snuggly. So it just kind of gives you that extra sensory perception of it feeling nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm gathering that, like with the portable mat, it's helpful for the entire body, even if it's not touching that part of the body. Is that right? It's gonna, okay.
Yeah, with the benefit of the full body mat as opposed to something that's just a local applicator is that it's affecting every single cell in your body. So no matter what, whether it's a hair cell or your eyes or your brain. So brain cells are typically something that's hard to regenerate and get to because of the blood-brain barrier. A lot of supplements and things won't pass the blood-brain barrier, and a lot of medications don't pass the blood-brain barrier. But this affects every single cell of your body. So there's other energy medicines, you know, there's ultrasound and there's laser and there's far infrared, but they all have a depth of penetration into the body. They only go so deep. Whereas with pulsed electromagnetic fields, the magnetic field passes through your body like a vacuum, as if it wasn't even there. It's able to affect every single cell in your body, no matter what. So your bone cells, your bone marrow. One of the other things that it does that's really important, especially for women, is that it increases bone density. So I'm 68 and I have the bone density of a 29-year-old. So if I fall over, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to break my hip. Right. So that's a huge benefit for people. So it just, you know, it's going to increase your immune system, but it's also increasing your body's defenses by increasing your bone density, increasing your bone marrow, which is making your red blood cells and your white blood cells and all the things that are required for our immune system to function properly. So it's giving us what we should be getting from nature, but we're not anymore.
Yeah, that's really cool. It sounded too good to be true when I first heard about it. So of course I did a little bit of research, and even the United States National Institute for Health, the NIH, has research on it, and they say that, yeah, it's great. So where can we get more information? Because this is incredible.
Well, my website is PEMF, so Peter Edward Michael Frank Solution, no S on the end, so just PEMFsolution.com. And there's some great videos on there that kind of tell you what it does. And then I did a webinar that goes deeper into it. And there's lots and lots of client results and research, scientific research. There's thousands and thousands of studies on PEMF. I've been doing research on it since the 40s and 50s. But especially in the last 20 years, there's a lot more research. You can go to PubMed and type in PEMF and cancer and diabetes and arthritis, and you'll find all kinds of research studies that show, because that's something I've come across too, is apart from people not ever having hearing about it, it does sound almost too good to be true, right? So it is one of those things that, but the more you investigate and scientifically, the more you'll find out that no, it's not too good to be true, that our parameters are actually based on a study that NASA did, because when they started sending astronauts into space, they would get sick really fast because they were beyond the Earth's magnetic field. So NASA did a 4-year, $3.5 million study that came to the conclusion that if you subjected human cell tissue to these low frequency, low intensity frequencies, then they would get stronger and they would heal faster. So now they use the frequency replicators in suits and spacecraft to keep the magnetic field when people are out in space all the time.
Wow. Well, if it's good enough for NASA, it should be good enough for the rest of us, right?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, lots of research. It
Mhm.
really, the technology kind of started off in Europe. The European countries were the first ones, in Japan. When it first came to North America, it was actually used more for racehorses than it was for people,
Oh my goodness.
because it could fix their leg issues. Because leg issues for racehorses is really a big problem.
Mm.
So it would increase the bone density and give them more energy so they could run faster and without any negative effects of anti-doping or anything like that. So athletes can get better performance. If you're a high level athlete, this can give you the edge that you need. You get faster recovery time, faster recovery from injuries, but just more energy so that you can have a higher level of performance and more endurance, because that's, endurance is a big thing. And the lactic acid buildup when you're exercising, that's what gives you the sore muscles, is the acidic buildup of lactic acid in your muscle tissue. So this decreases the lactic acid and speeds up your recovery time. So for athletes, or for anybody that's just a weekend athlete, or just wants more endurance for their life, just to have more energy to do the things that they want to do in their world, it's the perfect solution. It's so easy to use. Most people have no trouble sitting on it, or once you know how to turn it on, that's all you have to do. So you could be watching a movie or reading a book, or just laying there meditating and doing breathing exercises, however you want to use it. I have it built into my chair here. I have it kind of built into all my furniture. I have one under my mattress in my bed. I have the Omnium under my mattress, and I have a 14-inch foam mattress, and it penetrates through that as if it's not even there. And the other nice thing with the Omnium is it has like an alarm clock feature. So I have it set to come on automatically at a certain time every morning, so I can get my first session of the day without even having to wake up and turn it on. It just comes on.
Incredible.
Yeah. And then throughout the day, I'll have other full body mat sessions, but I do a lot. I'm on my iPad a lot, and on my phone or radioactive laptops. So I like to have it on in the chair while I'm on those devices, because it gives me a little bubble of protection, so that I'm not getting as many bad effects from being on all these electronic devices all the time.
That is absolutely incredible. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, so I
So,
mean, people should put their devices on airplane mode at night. And not everybody does that, but definitely put
mhm.
your phone on airplane mode and turn your laptop off, or if you can, turn your router off at night when you're not using it, because none of those frequencies are great.
Okay.
But otherwise, you want to minimize the bad stuff. You still want to eat good food, and drink good quality water, and you want to get some sunshine and some exercise. But this actually gives you a lot of the benefits of exercise without actually exercising. It's increasing your circulation and oxygenation, and giving you that osteogenesis, and the effect of having weight bearing exercise on your bones. It actually gives you that without doing the weight bearing exercise. So you still should exercise, and you still want to be moving and doing things, but for a lot of people can't. When you're in severe chronic pain, you can't go to the gym or exercise, and sometimes you can't even go for a walk. So to be able to get those benefits that exercise give you while you're just sitting on the couch is fantastic. And again, almost sounds too good to be true.
It really does. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been just so interesting and informative. So I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure to be here. And yeah, if any of your listeners are interested at all, they can reach out to me through my website. There's tons of info on there, but there's also a contact application if they want to ask questions. There's no pressure. I never really feel like I have to sell these. It's if people see the need and for it and they can afford it, then it's the best investment I've ever made in my health, because I struggled with not only the bad back, but one of the other things that happened health-wise in my world was my whole family ended up being diagnosed with and eventually passing on from cancer. My dad first, then my mom, and then my sister was only 52. And I didn't have this technology back when all that was happening. I wish I had. I think the outcomes would have been a little different. But I wanted to make sure I didn't go down that pathway. So I've done a lot of research into disease conditions and what causes them and how to prevent them, because I didn't want to be another victim of that statistic of cancer. It's a horrible disease.
Right.
So again, another one that's more prevalent in today's world than it has been in the past. So, anything that you can do easily, and that's the real beauty of this, that it's really easy to use. It's really easy to fit into your world somewhere, that you have it on your couch or on your bed or even on your floor, or fit it into your chair, and just turn it on while you're sitting there. It's very simple to do. I even put my food on it when I get home from the grocery store, because I might as well have the food at the right frequency instead of my body having to fight the frequency that the food is at, right? So, and it affects the taste of things too. Things that are sweet or sour, you can actually notice a difference in taste when it's in the correct frequency than when it's not.
Interesting. Well, you'll definitely be hearing from me soon.
Wonderful.
Probably this weekend.
Okay, we have specials every month too, and January actually has a really good special on the cheapest model. Sometimes the specials are only on the mid price range, but this month the special's on the least expensive one, where you get the spot pad thrown in for free. So that's a great bonus, and the spot pad is my favorite applicator. It's the one I use all the time on my elbows, because I had elbow when I started playing golf again. My back was good, but then my elbows were still an issue. I injured my elbow, and I used the spot pad on it all the time, and the injury went away really quickly, and then I was able to hit as many golf balls as I wanted every day without causing further aggravation. So that's been a blessing. So
Good. That's amazing. You can find me at ithurtstomom.com and at ithurtstomom on Instagram and Facebook. Hope everybody has a blessed day, and please check out this technology.